Well, we're back with my teacher Flunked the Planet. We're in chapter 3, which is called Big Julie for some reason. Well, if you weren't here for the last one, it ended kind of on a cliffhanger yesterday. Hulan, who was in a coma, went like this. He opened one eye and then shut it back. So, we're gonna figure out why today. Okay, chapter 3. Big Julie. Seconds after Hulan opened and closed his eye, another alien came through the wall. This alien, I would say he or she, but you can't always tell with these beings, had a beetle-like shell on its back and more arms and legs, or whatever, in front than I could count. "Greetings, Krepta," it said in a language that seemed to consist mostly of clicks. "Greetings," I replied. The alien scuttled to Hulan's bubble. "We registered a small movement." "He opened one eye," I replied, lowering and raising my own eyelid in demonstration. The bug being waved its antennae. "That's the most he's done since we put him here," it clicked. "He must have been aware of your arrival." That made me feel good, though I was still feeling guilty about whether my brain had driven Hulan into the coma in the first place. I watched the bug being putter around for a bit, then decided to go to my room. As I stepped through the wall, a ball of red fur dropped from the ceiling to my shoulder. I jumped in surprise, then realized as the fur ball started to chitter. Then relaxed. Not realized, relaxed. "Hi, Murgatroyd," I said. Murgatroyd was a skimmel. He had been given to me by Fleef and Gurk, 2 aliens, and a squirrel just either fell from a tree or climbed down it really fast. Nature, am I right? 2 aliens I met my first day on the New Jersey, as a kind of get-well present after Croc Junk had taken out my brain. "They're squishy," Gurk had said, squeezing the skimmel so hard that the red fur had bulged from the top and bottom of his brown fist. "Lots of fur, no bones," Fleef had explained. I gave Murgatroyd a squeeze now. He began to chitter more loudly than before. He loved being squished. Cuddling him to my chest, I whispered, "I think you'd better stay here, fella. I'm not sure what's going to happen down there." I used my U-Rat to send a note to Fleef, asking her to take care of Murgatroyd while I was gone. Then I started to pack. 15 minutes later, I had stowed everything I wanted in a knapsack I ordered from the synthesizer. Knowing it would be a while before Susan and Duncan were ready to go, I called up a program about undersea life on Hulan's planet. But even watching 3-dimensional sea creatures swim through the middle of my room couldn't take my mind off what we were facing. It was almost a relief when Broxholm walked through my wall and said, "Time to go." I followed him to the departure chamber. Duncan, Susan, and Creeblin were already there. No one else came to tell us goodbye and good luck. No brass band played to send us on our heroic mission, but that was no surprise, given Broxholm's feelings about band music. Besides, the aliens didn't think that what we were doing was all that heroic. They had given us a last chance before they decided our fate, and we were just doing something that ought to be done. Again, airplanes. I glanced around at the ship, then closed my eyes and stepped into the blue light. We materialized in a kitchen. The house we were in belonged to Betty Lou Carpoo, which was Creeblim's Earth identity. Only something had changed in the few hours since we had left. At first, I couldn't figure out what it was. Then I realized that I could hear someone breathing. Someone who wasn't a member of our group. Someone who was very, very big. I glanced at Broxholm. He looked wary. Remembering how sensitive his ears were, I guessed that he had picked up the sound of the breathing right away. As I watched, Creeblim caught the expression on his face. "What is it, Broxholm?" she asked. Before he could answer, she noticed the sound. 2. Her eyes went wide, and she said a word nearly unpronounceable for a human tongue. It came from deep in her throat, in about The best I can do to represent it is... Broxholm wrinkled his brow in affirmation. Duncan wrinkled his brow too, but in his case... Everyone comes out here and gets scared that I'm here. Oh, Duncan wrinkled his brow too, but in his case, it indicated puzzlement. Did you say you're Big Julie? Broxholm showed the tiniest bit of amusement. That's not exactly what she said, but for your purposes, it's close enough. Who's Big Julie? Asked Susan. I am. The words, spoken in a whisper, rumbled the floorboards like thunder through a cloud. So it's like, I am. But it was really loud. A loud whisper. Duncan screamed and grabbed Susan's arm. Who said that? I asked nervously. The floor shivered again as the voice whispered, I did. Oh, stop it. Oh, stop it. Julie snapped Creeblum. You're frightening our friends. They frighten me. Broxholm, please tell us what's going on, said Susan. Broxholm pulled on his nose, which was his way of sighing, and said, We've been assigned a watchdog. He sounded annoyed. What do you mean? I asked. The council doesn't entirely trust Creeblum and me not to become too fond of you Earthlings. So they've sent Julie to keep an eye on us. To prevent any such fondness from leading us into a bad decision. You mean this guy's here to keep you from going native? I asked. If our situation hadn't been so serious, I would have thought the idea was pretty funny. Creeblum closed her middle eye. You could put it that way. Susan frowned. Well, where is he? Is he some weird creature with no body? Did he sink his molecules into the floor? Broxholm showed that hint of amusement again. Big Julie is hardly a creature without a body. Without a body, he said mildly. He started to say something else, but his words were interrupted by the deep voice. I am here, it rumbled. Come see. Duncan moved closer to me. I gave Broxholm a questioning look. It's all right, said Creeblum. He won't hurt you. Yet. Yet? Asked Susan. Broxholm showed his purple teeth. Big Julie does not like Earthlings very much. I suspect one reason he has chosen to keep an eye on us is that he is one of the most vocal supporters of the blow-up Earth Today faction. Even so, you might as well go meet him. The breathing sounds like it's coming from down the hall, said Susan. She glanced at Broxholm, who wrinkled his brow in affirmation. Reaching out, she took my hand. The slow, steady sound of Big Julie's breathing filled the air. That's where they leave us. What? The sun's coming out and I can't see. Anyways, that's the end of chapter 3. I'll make chapter 4 real quick and then I have to go to school. Sorry. Today, a weekday, at my lunch break. So I'm hoping to do 2 a weekday. So weekends, maybe I'll do some on the weekends, but probably not. We'll see. See ya.